We're talking about moving the body, folks, and exercising today. And Tom, let's go back to that regularity of exercise. I think really that's the most important thing, is finding something that you can be consistent with. And what I normally try to tell my clients, and I ask them this question, and it is an individual type of thing. Exercise does go back to the individual, because there's certain exercises that people don't like, some that they do like. There's activities that they may not like. Working out may just irritate people, not me. But what I always ask them is, are you a morning person or an evening person? Because I think that's very important as well. What happens is we have these biorhythms, these clocks that, me personally, I'm a morning person. I love getting up in the morning. There are people that if you wake them up at 7 o'clock in the morning, they're tigers. They just hate waking up. Or my middle boy is that way. He just despises getting up early. He's very irritated in the morning. The last thing you probably want to do, even though exercise is probably the best in the morning, last thing you want to do if you're not a morning person is to exercise in the morning.
Right.
So try to find that time during the day that you really kind of peak and do it on that side, to do it in that area, that time zone. But also, too, more than anything, and we talked about the consistency side of it, but let's talk a little bit about intensity, because what happens when people are exercising and they think, oh, I've got to have to work out like you and really push the body and that sort of thing. But the intensity side is relative as well, right? I mean, it's relative to the individual. It's what's intense for them or what their body can tolerate, and you want to try to push that body a little beyond the comfort zones every time. But what's your opinion on that as far as intensity?
It's all going to change. People. I'm telling you, chiropractic, medicine, everything's changing. It has a lot to do with DNA, some pretty intense things. One of these days, we're going to go somewhere to a gym, and they'll tell us whether or not we need to work out and how much and how many minutes and how hard, and it'll be so different. Todd, your routine will be so different than mine. It's just like nutrition. We're at the infancy still. There's still so much difference between what you need in nutrition, what I need. We're going by these RDAs, and we're trying to hit it.
Yes,
you know that as well as I do. But it's just like with the fitness. Some of us are non-reactive to the exercise. But what I do with the morning or evening, if your exercise tends to make you wide awake, I would like to do it in the morning.
Yes.
Why would you want to do it at night? You're gonna go to bed and lay there and think about things. That's not good. So, but if it relaxes you, I would do it in the evening. So you want to be consistent, and you don't want to go against the grain, kind of like what you were saying. But the intensity, we talked about that at the break before the show. Gosh, some people, all the intensity, if we have a very senior citizen out there and they're having a little trouble with their memory, if they would just take like a fish oil pill and work on the computer a little bit, their memory will improve. So, I mean, we can talk about exercise, its effect on the mind. So,
yes.
I mean, all they're pressing is a button, but they're using some communication and they're getting some
and working the brain
benefit.
Yes, and working the brain, which the brain is a muscle at that point as well. So they're working out.
You know as well as I do, some of these people, you don't deal with as many challenged people as I do, but some people can't even take barely weight bearing, so they have to use water aerobics, or they have to use like these ski machines or elliptical or something where there's not even an impact. Right. And some of them can't even do that, so they have to use their arms because they can't even use their legs. So we're going to get into more specifics, but if you can't even do the resistance. They took a study with seniors and never exercised in their life. They started in the senior center. They were in their 70s. They started them batting a balloon. They batted a balloon. So how much exercise is that, Todd? They started with a balloon, went to a beach ball, finally got them with little bitty weights, and within 1 year, these people had gained up to 4% bone density. And these are people who never exercised their whole life.
And elderly as well.
Yes, so number one, it's never too late. It's never too light, and don't be discouraged. And if it's batting a balloon, go. And
it brings up a very, very good point, because so many of these exercise programs that we have out there today, from P90X and all the rest of them, very advanced. moves. Very advanced. Now, I was in a gym one time, and I was watching this one trainer train this lady, and she was probably in her late 30s, started working out just at that point in time, had been sedentary her entire life, and then in turn, he gets her out there. The first exercise he has her doing is leaping sideways over a box. I did the same thing. I thought, oh, this is going to be tragic. I looked up, Tom, within 3 jumps, she blows her knee out.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because what happens, and here's the thing that with personal trainers and what everyone needs to understand out there, most of these people go, they find an exercise that the newest, latest, greatest things out there, and they want all of their people to do it. Tom brought up a great point. If you are a senior citizen in your 70s, batting a balloon is probably your best bet. I'm just saying, it's something that is relative to where you're at. Make sure, in fact, batting a balloon would probably be relative for and be good for someone in their 30s, for that matter, that's been sedentary for a long period of time, at least to start with. So it's the body's an adaptation machine. The body, once it adjusts to a stress, then it can take a greater stress, and you can keep pushing it, and that's really what you want to do, is continue to challenge the body. But the worst mistake people make, and especially men, is that we were stud athletes when we were young. We were at 19 years old, we were all everything. Now we're 35, sitting behind a desk for 20 plus years, and what happens? We think, well, in our mind we're still studs. We're still there in our mind. We're not there in our body. So it's extremely important with an exercise program that it shapes around where you're at and where you're starting and your goals. And it's interesting you say this, Tom, because in the future, I think you're right. What we will do is sit down with these consultants at the gym through blood chemistry, through all these different programs that we will have, that we will be able to tell specifically what's good for that person.
How flexible are you?
Yes.
Do you have endurance? Do you have power?
Yes.
Does your body recharge quickly, or should you do your leg workout once every 2 weeks, or once every other day, or all these are going to vary, and so that your genetics.
That's right,
and it's going to react totally differently.
And see, and interestingly enough, and here I am is kind of like the epitome of that end equation. Is I've done it through trial and error, through me and experimenting and learning with my body. So over time,
how many years though?
Exactly. And then in turn, some injuries along the way and all of this stuff. And the average person is going to injure themselves more than me, struggle more than me to get there. So it's very important when you start off, folks, is to find out where you're at, what you want to accomplish, and find someone that's a personal trainer over 40, and nothing against you guys that are under 40 out there. There may be some great personal trainers under 40. But what happens is you have somebody over 40, they're a little more balanced, a little more mature, they're going to probably have a little more experience. So make sure, no matter who that personal trainer is that you consult with, that you sit down, you make sure that they know their stuff. Yeah. And if they're making you jump over a box, the first workout, stop in
somewhere
else, pay somebody else to do it. But one of the best money that you will spend, the best money you'll spend in this, is right off the front end, sitting down and consulting with someone and saying, here I am, this is what I want, this is what I need. But there are exercises that can be done, Tom, and again, I guess the basis of this show is that whenever when it comes to getting in shape with people, there are basic exercises that everyone can do that doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to have a gym membership. You can move the body without paying anybody anything, for that matter. But when it comes to fat loss, and that's the one thing we touched on earlier, is when it comes to fat loss, you cannot diet fat off. You have to burn fat off. Fat is burnt off, so that you can't. There's so many people that go on a diet, and the prime example was Mike Huckabee, I think.
Yes.
He lost weight without exercise, and he actually looked better when he was fat. I thought he looked better when he was fat. I'm sorry to say that, but he looked real haggard when he lost all that weight because he had no muscle. So he started working out. He looked better, and of course now I think he's put back on the weight. So it's that yo-yo effect again. When you do it too fast, the wrong way, tends to snap back, doesn't it, Tom?
Well, right now they're spending a little more doing these bypass surgeries. So, we're trying to save somebody's life by having that performed on someone. But in the long run, they run into so many other health risks after that.
Yes.
And let's just go back to the simple thing again. Just be moving. You don't even have to, if you don't want to go to the gym. I mean, Todd wants to get specific and even lose the fat. And I mean, I'm okay with. Yeah, I would like everybody to look good. But even if you stay fat, just stay moving so that some people will improve their fitness. Their BMI is not any better, but they're going to live longer. They're going to live more productive. They're going to be happier. They're going to have less cancer and heart disease and stroke and all those things that we know we need to have. So it's not all about, I mean, you're in the 1 percentile, which is great. I wish we could all endeavor for that. But I'd say 80% of us are doomed to let's just stay moving, people. Get up off the couch.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And interestingly enough, Tom, before we go to a break, the American Cancer Society Association just the other day came out and said you can improve your chances of surviving, or at least keep from cancer reoccurring in your body once you have cancer and you're over it, to diet, exercise, watch what you're doing. And I'm thinking, why don't y'all take that a step back even further? You can increase your chances of not having, of not getting it and contracting it in the first place through these very activities. So they did take a big step there to say, yes, you can keep from it reoccurring in your body by doing this. You can also keep it from occurring the first time through diet and exercise. At least decrease your chances. Cancer is something that we still are very mystified by, because you could work out every day, eat organic food, and still get cancer. We don't know, but we know for sure that lifestyle plays in, that diet and exercise plays in significantly. So not only for the weight loss, and like Tom said, it's not the aesthetics that we're talking about here. Exercise, we're talking about the very foundation of health, and we are designed to be mobile. We are not designed to sit here behind this camera. So we're going to take a break. We're going to do some push-ups, and we'll be back. Hang on.